Good morning, friends. Today I woke up to an odd message. A tweet to a paste bin that purported to leak the story of the forthcoming Guild Wars 2 expansion. I did not read these leaks, and I want to tell you why and how it, I think, reflects a quality of awareness that I do well to recall to myself and want to, if I can, encourage in my fellow gamers. So let's think about what the possible outcomes are of these leaks, right? This block of text that supposedly spoils the content of Guild Wars 2's next expansion. Option one, possibility one, is that they're accurate. And the leaks are actually leaks of what's coming out. This would sort of mirror some of what we saw with the Path of Fire expansion that came out in 2017, where there were some leaks ahead of time that actually did leak some real stuff, and including the map of the region. I remember watching Wooden Potatoes coverage. I think he was reflecting years later, but he said he regretted reading those leaks, even as one of the most important creators of one of the strongest voices on the scene. To him, in hindsight, he realized that consuming those leaks diluted his ability to appreciate the art when it was presented to him. And that's why I think if you have any interest in the lore qualities of Guild War, in the stories qualities of Guild Wars, and its narrative qualities, then I feel like we owe it to ourselves to not read these leaks, because at best they're accurate and they will spoil what we could otherwise enjoy as it is unfolded to us over time with teasers and marketing and advertising and all the stuff that usually comes before an expansion to build hype. Now, this may seem apologistic, like I'm sort of kowtowing to ArenaNet in some capitalist, sense of propriety that we ought to consume the product as it is given to us. But that's not where it comes from for me at all. Um, I think that it's become fashionable among some corners of the Guild Wars fandom to feel quite cynical about ArenaNet's ability to tell us stories in their world. And I think that somehow the shortcomings of the launch game's storytelling abilities with the racial stories that tumbled into the orders and all into the pact, and the sort of promise we had of this branching story that sort of anti-branched. You started in the branches and converged to the trunked. A trunking story, maybe a way we could think about it. That there's a sort of cynicism that came from people feeling let down by Guild Wars 2 at its launch and its failure to live up to its promise of having this incredible branching storyline based on our character choices and the things we did in the world. And I think that that's bullshit, man. Uh, Guild Wars 2 is over a decade old, and they've gotten a lot better at telling stories in their world sense. And I'm not going to say that what they do is the best thing in the industry. I'm not going to say it's even good enough for you. I'm just saying, if you're dissing on Guild Wars 2's narrative and story, don't do it because it's fashionable. Because in some places, it definitely is. Uh, do it because it's what you really feel. And if that's what you really feel, okay, that's fine. And maybe these spoilers aren't going to be a big deal for you. But even then, even then, if you know you're going to engage with this content, don't you owe yourself the chance and the hope of this content in some way raising your expectations for what ArenaNet and Guild Wars 2 can be? Don't you owe it to yourself to not be so cynical with your own interests? And doesn't that cynicism not bite at the thing you consume, but bite back at yourself instead? I feel like I'm up on a pulpit at this point, and I want to dismount from that pulpit. What's the other possibility? Well, that the leaks are horseshit, and it's just some fun AI generated fan fiction, and it's kind of harmless. I mean, if that's the case, then there's really not much else to say. It's harmless, but we don't really get to know whether it's harmless or false until the actual content comes out. And until that does happen, there's a risk that whatever is in here will spoil the experience of the product of the art and everything I just said from the top of my pulpit. So that's why I'm not reading these leaks. It's not because I owe it to ArenaNet or to Guild Wars or to anybody who I've enjoyed the game with or to any peer group who I talk to the game about. It's because I owe it to myself. If I'm going to engage with Guild Wars, I'm going to do it forthrightly and with the idea that my time is not being wasted. This is a good use of my attention. And that's how we should engage with all games. Let's not be so damn cynical for a change. Maybe? Anyway, that's all I got on this. Tread lightly around leaks, folks. You might not think you're ruining your fun, and then you won't realize you've actually done so until weeks or months after the fact, just like Wooden Potatoes with his Path of Fire leaks. So, till I see you again, please take good care of yourself and be good to each other. And I'm sure I will see you very soon.